Talk about leading into our trigonometry unit. We're going to start with a lesson on learning about what is a radian. So you probably have not had much. I don't know if you've had any kind of lessons or anything on a radian measure, if you even know what that is. So that's going to be our first thing that we talk about in our trig unit is what is a radian. So looking here, you can see what I'm going to want you to be able to determine is what is the connection between a radius, which is here, and the arc length, which is here in yellow. So there's a connection between them, and that's what you're going to figure out today on your sketchpad activity. So we're used to thinking that circles, we measure them in degrees, whereas a whole circle is 360 degrees, right? And a half circle is 180 degrees. So radian measure is just a different way of talking about circles, and radian measure is a different unit of measure that we use for circles. So we can measure a basketball court or a football field, in yards or feet, just like we measure a circle in degrees. So, math is continually evolving, and it's allowing us to create new things and invent new things that really enhance and broaden mathematical ideas and concepts. So radian measure is one of those new created concepts that kind of gives us some new, as I say, mojo in working with circles. It just takes it a step farther than what you were able to do with degrees. So I want you to kind of think about the word radian, kind of think about what it sounds like, how it relates to an arc, as you're doing your sketchpad activity. So I'm just going to briefly explain to you a little bit about the sketchpad activity. I think that you guys are very comfortable with it. And so this one is just real simple, and it's just going to lead you into, let me grab it here, show you how to discover radian measure. So I'm not going to do the whole thing with you, but I just wanted to give a quick overview. Okay, you're going to have this circle to begin with, okay? And this one's a little bit different version than the one that you're going to have, but so I'm not, on this particular one, it looks like on this one it's not going to animate it, but you're going to have your radius here, okay, and then your circle will animate, and that circle will show you, there it goes, what 1 radian is. So think about that. If I show that to you one more time, okay, there's your radius, okay, and that's a radian measure. Keep that in mind. Now we're going to show an arc here. Let's see if it will show the arc for us. So that radian that we did created this green arc. All right. So just think along those lines as you're creating this. Now the sketchpad doesn't require you to do anything else but use the animated buttons here, and just to look at it and just to discover a few things about radian measure. And you will have to measure your arc and your radius, and that's up here under the measure, and it will allow you to measure whatever the radius or whatever. Remember, you have to highlight it first and so forth, so you'll be able to do that. All right, so that's all I'm going to talk about on this part, because I think that you guys are pretty much set with this, and I'm not too concerned that you can't do the sketchpad activity to discover what you're trying to find. So back here, the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is, let me just put this back to a full screen so you can see it, is we're also going to lead into this, and that is converting from degrees to radians, because we've always worked with degrees in our circles, and now we're going to work with radians. So we know that pi is 180 degrees, that's half a circle, and we know that a whole circle is 360 degrees. So what if you were asked, how could we convert 50 degrees to radians? Well, you don't know how to do that. You couldn't look at a circle and figure that out right now. So what you could do is write a proportion. Pi over 180, okay, equals radian over 50. Now R stands for radian. Okay. Then you could cross multiply that and come up with this equation right here. And then solve that for R, and that's what happened down below right here. And we got 50 pi over 180 reduced 5 pi over 18. That would be your answer in radians. Okay. So a shortcut to that, it's just kind of a universal formula that we all use, is just taking the degree times pi over 180. So it's skipping the step of having to write out this full proportion. So here, 50 times pi over 80, Same answer, 50 pi over 180 equals 5 pi over 18. And it's that simple, converting from degrees to radians. Now our next step that we're going to do after this then will be going backwards and working, converting from radians to degrees, and we'll start working on that with our next lesson. So right now, if you just want to get out your sketch pad, the pass will be on the board. I want you to go ahead and get started with the radian sketch pad and answer your study guide sheet and try and figure out, how do radians and arcs connect? What's the connection between those two things? All right, have a good day.